Welcome to Black Angus Reviews, the first video of 2024. The year to be great. Going to be great, guys. Eric July commands it. Enough of these fat, out of shape, white. What a terrible combination. We're going to put an end to that. Isn't that right, guys? Well, been racking my brain about what to do with this video, and I want to do sort of a silly State of the Union address 2024, our focus here at Black Angus Reviews. And Caps Only Comics, Mr. BVS, Black Van Skyver himself, put out an interesting tweet. So I'm like, well, this is easy, I guess, to respond to. And I definitely love to see commentary in the comments with y'all about what I'm going to say. So Caps Only Comics says, I was wondering, yes, Eric July made a horrible comic, but did he succeed at making the public focus on quality beyond DC and Marvel? Is this a pivotal moment? Because before I saw him, there was not this much of a focus on demanding quality from indie comics as well. Well, will indie creators rise from the ashes of Eric July's lack of quality to obtain more interest from the mainstream public? Eric reaching 3.5 million, 3.7 was putting the spotlight on indie comics. Any thoughts? So, I reject the idea that Comicsgate, indie comics, Fear, whatever you can call us, Iron Age. I reject the premise that this was a quality comic movement. This is an amateur movement, and you could argue at least political grassroots movement to reject modern mainstream comics in the sense of rejecting their practices with the customer base and with the product. EVS popped up and he's kind of being canceled by DC. And he's kind of freaking out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, all I've done is comics for this long. How am I going to make a living? How am I going to pay for my house? Because like the access to top of the mountain, arguably, getting to draw Batman, Poison Ivy, Superman, all DC characters. Worked X-Men before, doing some cover work. That's shut to me now because I like Trump and I am unabashedly saying this, but it's like costing my career. And then right then, your boy Hack with Jawbreakers pops up with this whole tortious interference narrative that so it's like the funding from the start of these two big campaigns, and then Mike Miller and so on, Doug Snaple. This was a politically based movement in Comicsgate against the standards and practices. And then it became also a like, hey, you don't have to run this track to be a comic creator, be it artist, writer, editor, graphic design, penciler, letter, whatever the case, whatever your field of interest is in comics. You don't have to even run that hamster wheel to create what you want. You can actually just, here's printers, contact artists, have them draw your crap, put it together in a PDF file, send it to a printer, and then figure out getting it to your audience, figure out how to tell your audience through YouTube and Twitter. And I guess Facebook maybe back then, but as a football fan, I'll use this analogy. This whole thing has worked with more or less slave labor, like the NFL. There's much I love football, love the Eagles. It's a rigged game. How you get there? You got to play ball. At least that's how it's always been. Now I think the wheels are coming off slowly but surely for that system. Thankfully, because I'm all about player rights. These are big corporations, some of them state funded. Jesus. Some of them state funded as public schools, universities, for cheap labor that makes them millions of dollars per year. Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, to name a few, in the NCAA collective pot of amateur athletes that can't make money beyond their scholarship. Uh, and so coaches, they get a couple million a year, which is crazy. I think some of these coaches are getting paid more than NFL coaches because they are procuring the talent for next to nothing with a complete payout. They're making probably 99% of the revenue after taxes, whatever fees. They're keeping almost all that revenue and putting like a drop in the bucket for scholarships and housing that they've already built for themselves. So it's just whatever. They're just not making money on a couple rooms. And if you want to get in the NFL, you have to have 2 years out of college, out of high school. How are you going to get seen if you're not playing on one of the division levels of college football? There's not a competitive market. It's all rigged in a funnel for the NFL. The NFL's great capitalist market, mostly maintaining high talent, aside from the contracts. But it all starts with this rigged college system that you play ball with if you want to succeed and advance. That's how comics kind of have worked. Is you're going to take a crappy pay rate because if you don't, we'll outsource it to Brazil. Wait, it sounds like someone I know. Rip reverse. Yeah, so like it's never been a quality issue necessarily. Some people might argue, oh, it was good in the 80s or 90s, and ever since whatever, they've gone downhill. I'm just done. And oh, look, now they made it political too. That's like a mixed bag saying that with the political thing. The more I learn about comics, but yeah, the directly preaching at the audience with an overt message of it's this or Third Reich, and you better be on my side, and we'll blacklist you or we'll break you, block you, and whatnot. It was a customer revolt, partially based politically with the Trump Hillary divide of America. So it's never been about quality. It's about customer relations, not demeaning them. And it's about liberating comics from this system that has kept amateurs out and forced them to have to play ball monetarily, politically, etc. This is about uh no, I can't say this Eric July fiasco with Rippaverse and shenanigans, EVS and all this. I don't see this helping or putting a spotlight on quality comics at all. Uh it's like a lot of people I see comics that like don't look interesting. I don't back them. But then people like shield them. It's like, they delivered. And it's like there's never a review besides, oh look, it looks good. It was made. They fulfilled. Kind of robotic. um, so I'm gonna do my part this year to be as brutally honest for everyone as possible. If it's ever been a question, people that like I might host, if they get their stuff out in a relative quick time and I'm able to review it, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not going to hold back anymore. Kind of felt bad from the start with Comicsgate with a lot of stuff as far as quality of books, because as much as I love this sphere to enable and embrace amateur creators, there's like the downside of if you're just like simping for each other and high-fiving because you made a book and it was fulfilled, like you're not going to make a parallel economy for sure, but you're definitely not really a legitimate competitor to Marvel or DC. You're not really holding up yourselves at the same level. And you can say, well, these are amateurs, like, right, but you're trying to fight Marvel and DC, have a product or a group of a collective that like we're not playing these shenanigans, we're not like forcing diversity, not race swapping and whatnot. Characters, the stories we're telling are genuine. They've been things we wanted to tell, and they're not dictated by agenda, supposedly. Some people in our sphere seem to think that, well, no, we need to fight leftists by propagandizing with conservative ideas, and it's like that. No, it's cringe. That's actually worse because we are like the truther side, we're the conspiracy side. So it's cringe when we do it. Don't do that. But no, Comicsgate and related is about empowering creators to not have to toe a company corporate dictated line about issues like Israel or whatever. Um, Even if I strongly disagree with stuff, I completely support every creator, including idiots like Eric July, to not have corporate enforced mushmouth politics support, efforts or whatever, and thus muddy the products they're making, the books, the art. Sorry, I'm saying product, art. Uh, should be making art if you're here, but yeah. So you can be as pro gay and open to everybody, or as arguably homophobic as someone like JDA or Doug TenNapel, Miller. That's not me disparaging them. That's just like that's the language we live with today. Homophobia means you don't like gays. So don't want you to misconstrue my thoughts on them. They're all fine, to varying degrees. I was on JDA yesterday, and he's a pretty cool guy, from my experience. So, but yeah, I support that. I support like this range of like, hey, I'm open to everybody. Just buy my book. I want money, and I want to please you with my art as EVS, or like, hey, I am kind of like trying to push my own agenda through my art with people like JDA, or they seem to think, no, you need to propagandize art to push the right propaganda of like Jesus or whatever. And all the baggage comes with that, with their viewpoints or lack thereof. I support that. That's what this has all been about. And yeah, it's those two things. It's like the kind of the politics sphere argument with towing the line, and it's about customer service, whatever. And to me, empowering creators to not jump through hoops to make art. So that's why I'm very proud to have backed, your boy Zach when he started, but I'll like never back him again because he's he's probably the one guy I'll just never engage his art or product, whatever, because he's a phony. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. And we're gonna be hitting hard at the Rippaverse like we should, because we will win, parallel economy, all this like shenanigans he will trick his idiotic audience with, that they'll regurgitate and parrot, think they're winning, like this settlement or the most milquetoast praise from Millar, right in conjunction with saying, oh, pretty much every writer I've paid to write for me thinks I'm a good writer. We're not going to let off the gas. You thought the hate was bad last year. We're just going to keep on keeping on, because everyone wants to play kid gloves with the black kid because he's the token in this sphere. It's not him trying to be a token necessarily, but that's the reality. Everyone supports him because there's an angle with Eric winning. You say, oh, why do you hate us? We support black-owned business. They love jumping to the race shield as soon as they can. They talk about diversity and pressure Olympics, but then they do it as soon as they can. If you say anything negative, we're not going to stop. It's just fun. It's fun. You're going to see with the Soska sisters, more and more people are going to expose this like trans support, which is fine. I'm totally fine for artists to have whatever view they want, and it can be separate from their art. But reading enough articles, and it's really not. They directly make art trying to push their feminist agenda. And how much will they make with Yaira? I don't know. I don't know how much, like Eric's like, you write it with like the right artistic prose, but this is you're saying my details. There's nothing else you're adding. I don't know. I think it's a big gay op. Maybe Eric unknowingly himself thought he could play this art versus artist thing, which is like, it only works to some degree when you are kind of an activist with your art. So that's why, if you've been curious about this like trans Yaira thing I've been pushing, this is why I'm like hijacking the character with AI art and propagandizing her as a trans accept of Florence Park, Texas, fighting the bigoted U.S. of A. that could not allow Texas to be a trans supporting haven. Thus, the Great War of Separation to protect the trans kids, says Yaira. Uh, but I want to thank BVS, Mr. Black Van Skyver, for this interesting prompt to this video. Kick the new year off. I did. If you're about me making my comic, I just need money. So go support me Patreon, or there's that GoFundMe. It's a tip jar. I'm about to put a Fund My Comic thing up. Be a storefront for the posters. I've had these posters. I fulfilled my initial campaign attempt of promo posters. I got my Meth Gator posters. If you want them, I'll put them up. Probably do the same template and price, but it'll just be a storefront, and that'll be a way to support me. Hopefully, I can fund this comic this year and get the campaign going because I really want to give y'all the start to this story. Just need money to make art. I'm not an artist. Yeah, and yeah, you're gonna see. I've always tried to be integritous, but you're gonna see even more like I will never play that. Well, you want to be a creator, you gotta like shut up about other creators. What's that gotten people? Look at Immortal Rising. He didn't even like necessarily seek it out, but he's just like commenting on Eric being a bitch. And you know, Eric attempts to like buy him off and look like a good guy with that $700 and then throws it in his face. And then everyone's talking about this guy. This guy's been pumping along for I think a couple years. I've had him on stream with Chris Fisk. Just being a nice guy on the internet has not helped him out. Don't know how outspoken he's been before this, but you know, when people say this like kid glove shit, they never like apply it to themselves and the things they simp for, like Eric and Az and shit. They built all these people on YouTube making this YouTube merch have built themselves like crapping on the mainstream. And they think they're not like they play this punching down, you know, commentary, which they are always against. They're like, now you put your stuff out in the public, it deserves scrutiny and criticism. Then when it comes to them, it's they got different rules now, you know. Same argument they make about, you know, the alphabet community, where it's like they want special treatment, not equal treatment. Well, you're going to get equal rights and lefts with me on the internet. You're not safe, Eric. You're not safe from my criticism or my money to get your stupid fucking books that I'm going to enjoy laughing at. Yeah, go support everyone Comicsgate. Look at Fund My Comic, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Find books you want. Talk about them. Critique them. Crap on the crappy parts. So these artists might actually not get an inflated ego because they fulfilled shit. That's where I'm at. And that's the Angus. I'm going full bore. Full bore. 100% all American beef here. We're back. Trans Yaira winter is upon us. Talk to you later.